Visceral fat, the deep, dangerous fat buried inside your abdomen, wrapped tightly around your vital organs, is the exact type of fat that refuses to budge no matter how strictly you diet or how many miles you walk every day. But what almost nobody realizes is that this fat does far more than just expand your waistline. It fundamentally alters how your organs operate. It compresses your liver, places enormous strain on your heart, and quietly sends distress signals throughout your entire body. If you've ever noticed that you now gain weight much faster than you did 20 years ago, or that the fat around your belly has become hard and firm instead of soft and loose, that is visceral fat announcing its presence. It is incredibly stubborn, but it is not invincible. The true secret to eliminating it is not cutting calories drastically or doing thousands of sit-ups. The real key is reactivating the natural fat-burning switch that nature built into every human body, a switch that our modern nonstop eating habits have turned off. And that switch is flipped back on through fasting, but not just any kind of fasting. There's one specific method that literally starves visceral fat to death while simultaneously protecting your organs and actually boosting your energy levels. By the end of this message, you will know precisely how to do it. First, let's get one thing perfectly straight. Fasting is not some modern fad. Our ancestors lived in a state of fasting every single day. They did not have cupboards overflowing with snacks or refrigerators humming around the clock. They ate when food was available, and they went without when it was not. During those periods without food, their bodies seamlessly shifted into burning stored fat for fuel. That metabolic flexibility is the very reason the human species survived and reigned for tens of thousands of years. In today's world, however, we have completely lost that flexibility. We eat from the second we wake up until the second we go to sleep. As a result, the hormone insulin, the master controller of fat storage, never gets a moment of rest. When insulin stays chronically elevated, your body is constantly commanded to store fat and is never allowed to burn it. It doesn't matter if you're eating salads or broth. If insulin is high, fat loss is biologically impossible. That is exactly why this particular fasting strategy works so powerfully. It finally gives insulin the extended break it needs, allowing your body to finally access its own stored fat reserves for energy. And the very first fat that gets targeted and burned? Visceral fat. Here's the difficult reality. As we age, our metabolism naturally slows down, and the tiny energy factories inside our cells, the mitochondria, become far less efficient. That is why people over 60 so often say, "I barely eat anything and I still gain weight." It has nothing to do with lack of willpower. It is pure biology. The wonderful news is that this fasting approach actually recharges those mitochondria, helping your cells burn fuel with the same youthful efficiency they once had. You begin to feel lighter in body, clearer in mind, and genuinely energized instead of deprived or exhausted. But only when you do it correctly. And doing it correctly means understanding exactly what to eat before the fast, what is allowed during the fast, and most importantly, what to eat when you break the fast. This is where organ meats come in, nature's original medicine and superfood. Liver, heart, and bone broth are not fashionable right now, but they are biologically perfect. They contain the precise nutrients your organs require to repair and regenerate themselves. B vitamins, iron, zinc, choline, CoQ10, nutrients that are nearly impossible to obtain in meaningful quantities from modern processed foods. Consider this. Your liver needs specific nutrients to detoxify the blood. Your heart needs CoQ10 to produce energy efficiently, and your brain needs healthy fats to maintain sharpness. When you combine fasting with these organ foods, you are not starving yourself. You are providing profound cellular nourishment. That is the critical difference between simple weight loss and genuine healing. Fasting tears down the old and damaged. Organ foods rebuild stronger than before. Together, they create a perfect cycle of renewal, and in that cycle, visceral fat simply cannot survive. Let me give you a strong warning. Fasting done incorrectly can completely backfire. If you keep snacking on the wrong things, or you break your fast with sugar, refined carbohydrates, or processed seed oils, your body panics, stores even more fat than before, and your blood sugar crashes hard. That is why I always say fasting is a skill, not a punishment. It is not about brute force willpower. It is about relearning the natural rhythm your body was designed for. Once you master that rhythm, fasting stops feeling difficult and starts feeling completely natural, like turning on a switch that was always meant to be on. Here's a truth that surprises almost everyone. Fasting is not primarily about fat loss. It is about deep healing. During your fasting window, an extraordinary process called autophagy takes place. Imagine your body as a house that has been collecting junk for decades: damaged proteins, dysfunctional cells, stored toxins. Autophagy is your body's internal cleaning crew. When you fast, your cells begin breaking down and recycling all that cellular garbage, converting waste into fresh energy. It is spring cleaning on the deepest cellular level. And here's what makes it even more powerful. Visceral fat is highly metabolically active and packed with harmful inflammatory molecules that damage your cells. The moment autophagy begins, those damaged areas start getting repaired. That is why people who fast the right way notice far more than just a shrinking waistline. They experience sharper mental focus, smoother digestion, clearer and more radiant skin, and even significant reduction in joint pain. Their entire body literally begins renewing itself. Now you might be thinking, all of this sounds incredible, but is fasting actually safe at my age? That is an extremely intelligent question. Yes, if you have uncontrolled diabetes or you are on medications that affect blood sugar, fasting must be supervised by your physician. Always consult your doctor first. But for the vast majority of healthy adults over 60, fasting done correctly is one of the safest, most natural, and most powerful ways to heal the body that exists. It is not deprivation, it is restoration. Your body is not breaking down. It is intelligently reprogramming itself. Here is another moment of truth. Fasting does not merely shrink fat cells. It completely resets your entire hormonal system. When insulin levels plummet, another hormone called human growth hormone skyrockets. Growth hormone preserves precious muscle tissue, accelerates metabolism, and strengthens bones, all of which become absolutely critical after the age of 60. That is why the correct form of fasting does not make you frail or weak. It makes you stronger. Your energy becomes rock steady, your appetite normalizes, and your body begins craving real, nutrient-dense food instead of sugar and refined starch. You start to notice that your midsection feels noticeably lighter, your digestion becomes smooth and comfortable, and your sleep becomes deep and restorative. These are clear, unmistakable signs that your visceral fat is finally losing its grip. And the next absolutely critical piece, the part where most people make fatal mistakes, is exactly how you break your fast. If you end your fast with sugary coffee, cereal, toast, or anything loaded with refined carbs, you instantly undo hours and hours of fat-burning work. But if you break your fast with something like a warm cup of bone broth, a couple of boiled eggs, or a small portion of grass-fed liver sprinkled with sea salt, you send your body a crystal-clear message: repair, regenerate, and keep burning fat. That single choice is what transforms fasting from a temporary trick into a permanent metabolic shift. Let me paint a picture of what this actually feels like in real life. You wake up, drink your morning water or black coffee, go about your day, and notice that hunger is mild and completely manageable. You feel focused, calm, and your body is quietly burning stored fat without any sense of struggle or deprivation. Around midday, you break your fast with a small nutrient-packed meal, perhaps some rich bone broth and scrambled eggs cooked in olive oil. Your energy remains perfectly stable all day long. No sugar crashes, no cravings. That is the body of a person who is running on fat for fuel instead of carbohydrates. And that is exactly when visceral fat begins melting away quietly, consistently, and without any fight. But here comes the cliffhanger. There is one hidden mistake that the vast majority of people make every single day that can completely derail the entire process. It is not about the food you eat. It is about timing. Fix this one timing issue, and fat burning becomes almost effortless. I'm going to reveal it in just a moment because this single adjustment can mean the difference between total success and endless frustration. Before I get to it, please remember this. Fasting is not just for weight loss. It is for true vitality. It allows your organs to breathe again. Your liver begins detoxifying far more effectively. Your heart pumps with less effort. Your brain becomes sharper and faster. Your gut resets itself. And as visceral fat dissolves chronic inflammation, the root cause of nearly every disease associated with aging begins to disappear. That is, when you start feeling genuinely younger, not just looking younger in the mirror. So never view fasting as something harsh or extreme. View it as giving your body explicit permission to heal itself. View organ foods as the master building materials that reconstruct your foundation. Together, they become the most powerful natural medicine you will ever have access to. Now, the real secret, the one that determines whether fasting burns fat or burns out your metabolism, is what I call the golden fasting window. This is a precise time period when your body switches from storing fat to aggressively burning it. It is the key to making fasting feel effortless and profoundly healing for every organ in your body. Most people never even reach this window because they break their fast too early or too late. But when you time it perfectly, your energy becomes perfectly stable, your mind becomes razor sharp, and your metabolism starts performing like it did decades ago. Here's the science in simple terms. When you stop eating, your blood sugar begins dropping after about 6 hours, and your body starts using up the stored glycogen in your liver and muscles. Around the 12-hour mark, insulin has fallen low enough for meaningful fat burning to begin. But something truly remarkable happens between 14 and 18 hours of fasting. Autophagy ramps up dramatically, and visceral fat begins breaking down at an accelerated rate. That 14 to 18 hour zone is a true golden window where deep healing and maximum fat burning intersect. I know 14 to 18 hours sounds intimidating at first, but it is much easier than you imagine. You are already fasting every single night while you sleep. If you finish dinner by 6 p.m. and simply skip breakfast, you are already deep inside the golden window by 8 o'clock or 10 a.m. the next morning. Black coffee, plain water, or herbal tea are completely allowed and make it feel effortless. The goal is never to suffer. The goal is to give your body the time it was designed and need for repair and renewal. If you can comfortably reach 16 hours just 2 or 3 days a week, your body begins clearing visceral fat at a rate you never thought possible, simply because insulin stays low long enough for fat metabolism to completely dominate. But here is where the vast majority of people fail spectacularly. They break their fast with the wrong foods. After fasting, your body is like a completely dry sponge. The very first thing you feed is absorbed instantly and powerfully. If that first food is sugar or refined carbohydrates, toast, fruit juice, cereal, your blood sugar spikes, insulin shoots through the roof, and your body instantly flips back into fat storage mode. All the progress is erased. But if you break your fast with clean protein and healthy fats, a boiled egg, half an avocado, or a warm cup of bone broth, you keep insulin low, blood sugar stable, and you signal your body to continue burning fat all day long. That is the secret to extending the benefits of fasting far beyond the fasting window itself. Now, let's connect this to something almost nobody ever considers. During fasting, your organs begin communicating with each other again in perfect harmony. Your liver starts producing ketones, super clean fuel molecules that power your brain and heart far better than glucose ever could. That is why so many people report extraordinary mental clarity and calm, focused energy while fasting. But after the deep cellular cleanup, your organs need specific raw materials to rebuild stronger than before. This is where organ foods become literal medicine again. Grass-fed liver replenishes vitamin A, zinc, and choline, the exact building blocks your liver needs to detoxify and regenerate. Bone broth delivers collagen and amino acids that repair your gut lining and strengthen joints. Heart meat or sardines supply CoQ10 and omega, 3 fatty acids that boost heart function and crush inflammation. The combination of fasting plus organ-based nutrition is like pressing the complete factory reset button on your entire metabolism. In the beginning, you may feel a little tired, irritable, or even get a mild headache. That is 100% normal. Your body is simply transitioning from burning sugar to burning fat. It is called the metabolic shift. Once you move past that brief adjustment period, usually just a few days, your energy returns stronger, calmer, and far more sustainable than the jittery highs you use to get from caffeine or sugar. Most people describe an incredible sense of lightness and calm, especially around the abdominal area. That is your visceral fat finally releasing its death grip. Here is another surprising truth. Visceral fat is not just stored energy. It is toxic storage. It is loaded with inflammatory chemicals and old toxins that your liver was never able to process fully. When you fast, those toxins are released into circulation. That is why proper hydration is absolutely non-negotiable. Drink plenty of clean water, herbal teas, and add a pinch of high-quality sea salt or electrolytes when needed. Water becomes your body's garbage removal truck during fasting. Modern medicine is finally catching up to what ancient wisdom always knew. Fasting literally reprograms your genes. It activates longevity genes such as SIRT1 and AMPK, which dramatically improve insulin sensitivity and reduce systemic inflammation. Every single hour you spend in a fasting state is like giving every cell in your body a professional tune-up and oil change. You're not just losing fat. You are extending your health span, the number of years you live strong, active, and free from disease. For seniors, this is life-changing. You can generally continue taking your medications while fasting, but always discuss timing with your doctor because as your body heals, medication doses frequently need to be reduced or eliminated entirely. I have personally watched countless patients lower or completely stop medications for blood sugar, blood pressure, and cholesterol once fasting addressed the root cause, insulin resistance. Once insulin stabilizes, blood sugar stabilizes, blood pressure stabilizes, cholesterol profiles improve. It's like aligning all the gears of a fine watch. When one starts moving smoothly, everything else falls into place naturally. Let's pause for a moment and imagine your life 6 months from now if you follow this exact rhythm. Your belly is noticeably flatter. Your clothes fit loosely and comfortably. Your mind is crystal clear. Your energy is steady from sunrise to sunset. You wake up refreshed instead of groggy. That is not fantasy. That is biology functioning exactly as it was designed to function. The human body was created for alternating cycles of feasting and fasting. Constant grazing destroyed that rhythm, and we have paid the price with obesity, diabetes, and chronic fatigue. Bringing fasting back into your life simply restores the rhythm your body has been desperately craving. You will feel the difference. Your lab results will show the difference. Your confidence will return. There is an even deeper reason this works so extraordinarily well for people over 60. After fasting, your cells become hyper-responsive to nutrients when they are finally reintroduced. Every bite of food you eat after a fast is absorbed and utilized far more efficiently than before. It's like upgrading your entire digestive system to first class. Your circadian rhythm, your body's internal 24-hour clock, also plays a massive role in fat burning. Fasting in alignment with natural light cycles, finishing dinner early and fasting through the night, dramatically enhances results. Eating late at night keeps insulin elevated and promotes visceral fat storage. Stopping food early allows insulin to plummet, growth hormone to surge, and your metabolism to fully reset while you sleep. That is why the timing of your eating window is just as important as the fasting itself. Here is a practical, real-world example. Finish eating by 6 p.m. First meal the next day at 10 a.m. That is an effortless 16-hour fast, most of which you sleep through. Break it with eggs cooked in olive oil, a little grass-fed liver, and bone broth, and you keep the healing and fat-burning process running all day long. Do this consistently, and people reclaim their metabolism even after decades of struggling. But here comes the final cliffhanger. There's one last step that almost nobody talks about, yet it determines whether your fasting journey becomes a permanent lifestyle or quietly fades away. It is not about food choices. It is not about exercise. It is something much deeper, your mindset and how your body feels during the fast. Because when fasting feels like a constant battle, you will eventually quit. But when fasting feels natural, peaceful, and nourishing, it becomes a joyful way of life. And the key to making it feel natural lies in one final adjustment I will reveal in the next section, an adjustment that makes fasting not just effective, but truly effortless. Stay with me, because once you learn this, fasting will stop feeling like a diet and start feeling like freedom. The kind of freedom where you wake up every morning knowing your body is actively healing itself and visceral fat no longer stand a chance. The final adjustment, the one that separates people who struggle endlessly with fasting from those who thrive on it for life, is not about food, not about timing, and not about exercise. It is about your mindset and the way you communicate with your own body. Most people begin fasting filled with fear and resistance. They think, I'm starving myself, or I could never go that long without food. But the moment you change the internal story you tell yourself, everything in your body changes too. Fasting is not deprivation. Fasting is direction. It is your conscious way of telling your body, it is time to heal, to clean house, to restore and renew. When your mind truly believes that fasting is nourishment rather than punishment, your stress hormones drop, your digestion relaxes, and your metabolism opens up fully. Science confirms this. Elevated stress hormones like cortisol can completely block fat burning even if your fasting timing is perfect. So if you are anxious, angry, or worried while fasting, your body will refuse to release visceral fat. That is why the most dramatic, life-changing results come from people who fast calmly, gratefully, and intentionally. Begin each fast with a moment of gratitude. Perhaps a short prayer, a few deep breaths, or simply telling your body, I am giving you the gift of rest and repair. You will feel the difference almost immediately. Let's connect this mindset directly to biology. When you fast in a calm and grateful state, your vagus nerve, the major communication highway between your brain and your gut, becomes far more active. This shifts your entire nervous system from fight or flight into rest, digest, and repair mode. Seniors who practice mindful fasting routinely report better digestion, more stable blood pressure, and dramatically fewer cravings because their whole system is finally aligned and at peace. You are no longer fighting against your body. You are working in perfect partnership with it. And once your body feels completely safe, it willingly releases stored fat, including toxic visceral fat, without resistance. Here is something truly remarkable. Fasting does not just reshape your body. It reshapes your brain. When your body begins producing ketones from stored fat, those ketones provide cleaner, more efficient fuel for your brain than glucose ever could. You begin thinking more clearly, remembering things more easily, and often feeling genuinely happier. Many seniors describe the sensation as mental sunshine. This is not mysticism. This is pure metabolism. Your brain thrives on clean energy, and fasting supplies it in abundance. Historically, fasting has been used not only for physical healing, but for mental and spiritual clarity as well. It restores balance on every level, physical, emotional, and even spiritual. Now, let's talk about the other side, the mistakes that can turn fasting from powerful medicine into actual harm. Overfasting is one of the biggest. If you push far too long or ignore clear signals from your body, you can slow your thyroid, weaken your immune system, or lose hard-earned muscle. Fasting is never about seeing how long you can go without food. It is about finding the wise balance between rest and nourishment. If you feel dizzy, excessively fatigued, or lightheaded, that is your body telling you to eat. Fasting should energize and uplift you, never drain you. Another important warning. Individuals with certain medical conditions, uncontrolled diabetes, advanced kidney disease, or severe adrenal fatigue, must always consult their physician before beginning. The goal is healing, not harm. Medicine is only powerful when it is used with wisdom and respect. Now, let's pull everything together into practical daily rhythm that makes visceral fat loss completely sustainable for life. Picture this. You finish eating by 6 p.m., you drink water or herbal tea through the evening, you enjoy a full night of deep sleep, and you wake up without the ravenous morning hunger that used to control your day. You move gently, perhaps a light walk or some stretching, and then around 10 o'clock or 11 a.m. you break your fast with a small, nutrient-dense meal, a portion of grass-fed liver, a cup of rich bone broth, or eggs cooked in olive oil with avocado. Throughout the afternoon, your energy remains perfectly steady. No crashes, no cravings, just calm, natural vitality. You may have one more light meal around 4 o'clock or 5 p.m., and then you peacefully close your eating window. Simple, peaceful, completely sustainable. That is the rhythm your body was designed to thrive on. When you live this way consistently, you are not dieting. You are restoring ancient biological wisdom that your body already knows by heart. And here is the beautiful payoff. As your visceral fat melts away, your organs begin functioning better than they have in decades. Your liver detoxifies with ease. Your heart pumps more efficiently. Your blood pressure stabilizes. Your digestion becomes smooth and comfortable. Even your skin begins to glow again because repair is happening at the deepest cellular level. You feel it first in your belly. It becomes softer, lighter, and far less bloated. Then you notice deeper sleep, longer-lasting energy, and a brighter, more positive mood. These are the undeniable signs that your body is healing itself from the inside out. You are not just losing fat. You are regaining true vitality. But here is one final secret. Fasting works best when it is combined with gentle daily movement and morning sunlight. Even a relaxed 20-minute walk after eating tells your body to use that food for fuel instead of storing it as fat. A few minutes of morning sunlight helps anchor your circadian rhythm and perfectly regulates the hormones that control hunger, energy, and sleep. This is why so many seniors who combine fasting with light activity and natural light feel like their body is woken up again, because they're finally living in harmony with the same natural cycles our ancestors lived by for hundreds of thousands of years. Your body loves rhythm. Give it rhythm, and it will reward you with balance, strength, and vibrant health. Now, let's talk about the rebuilding phase. Every time you eat after a fast, your cells are primed and ready to absorb nutrition like never before. This is the ideal moment to give your body the most nutrient-dense healing foods on the planet. Organ meats, bone broth, fermented vegetables, omega-3 rich fish. These are not just healthy foods. They are genuine ancestral medicine. Modern processed diets have stripped us of these critical nutrients, leaving our organs starving at the cellular level. When you bring them back into your life, you restore proper communication between your organs and your metabolism. It is like rebuilding the foundation of a house that has been neglected for decades. That is how fasting becomes permanent, not as a temporary phase, but as a lifelong practice of nourishment and renewal. Take a moment right now and imagine your life just a few months from today. You wake up feeling lighter, your clothes fit comfortably again, your energy is steady and strong from morning until night. You walk with ease. You think clearly and quickly. Your lab results are the best they've been in years, and friends and family keep asking what your secret is. You smile because you know you didn't need expensive programs, dangerous pills, or extreme diets. You simply return to your body's original design. So here's my final message to you. Your body is not broken. It has simply been waiting for the right rhythm, the right nutrition, and the right message. Fasting, done correctly, with proper hydration, organ-rich foods, and a calm, grateful heart, is that message. When you live this way, visceral fat doesn't stand a chance. And you get to enjoy the energy, clarity, and vitality you deserve for the rest of your life.